Hi, guys. Thanks so much for coming back and listening to the Let It Go, Flow, and Grow podcast. I am your host, Rubes. And this week or today, I'm going to be talking all about energy exchange, energetic cords, how to protect your energy, etc., etc. I think I've already gone over how to protect your energy, but as I kind of get a little bit further in my own journey, I kind of just wanted to share maybe some tips and tricks on how you can protect your own energy. I personally, I understand that everyone has to learn how to protect their energy on their own at their best abilities. But it is nice to have like some guidance and direction on where you want to go or kind of like where you should start, I guess. Um, I think something that's important to remember is that everything is about intention. You are as powerful as you think you are. So just remember that. And just remember that it's all about the intention that you put behind things. Um, so I'm trying to think of what I have learned this week. Um, Something that I did learn was that you should not categorize people that you meet in your life. And just because somebody hurt you in the past doesn't necessarily mean that somebody who is similar to that person in the future will hurt you again. Um, I ended up meeting a girl at work, and I realized that this has actually been a cycle in my life. So, whenever I was a lot younger, there was a girl that I grew up with for like 12 years. Because remember, I went to that like cult of a school. And I knew her for like 12 years, and she bullied me relentlessly the entire time that I knew her. I think there were maybe like three times that she treated me like I was a human. Other than that, she absolutely hated my guts, and it didn't help because her mom actually worked at the school, and her mom hated me too, and her brother. So it didn't really help um, at all. Her brother was kind of nice to me throughout different occasions. Um, but I think, for all of them to have so much hate, I guess, um, kind of shows, there was probably like a deeper issue going on at home. But I'm not privy to talk about that because I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I have some theories, but that's not for me to say. All I can say is from my experience is that she gave me a really, really hard time growing up. And she was very athletic and sporty, and I was not. I am very artsy. My entire life I really haven't been like a sporty person. After I went to college and then I moved out here, I ended up getting really into the gym because my best friend was really into the gym. So I would go like once or twice a day. And I was also trying to like impress this guy a long time ago. And he was really into the gym. So then I started going to the gym a lot, and that was kind of the extent of like me being sporty. Like I I was like I played soccer, I did cheer mostly against my will. Whenever I was younger, I liked to do cheerleading, but as I got older, I didn't want to do it. I actually had to do it because I ended up getting in trouble at school, and that was a way for me to prove that I was changing as a person. And so I was kind of forced to be on the cheerleading team. And then they ended up kicking me off, or they were like, well, Ruby's not going to go to regionals because she never shows up to practice. And it's like, yeah, I'm also in my senior year of high school taking 28 credit hours. And I'm volunteering at my church. And I also just don't really want to be here. So, like, yeah, I'm only going to show up like once a week. Um, so that was a thing. And then I also did volleyball whenever I was younger. It doesn't matter. Now I'm like ranting. The point is, this girl did not like me. And so my entire life, I have categorized people who I assume are sporty or athletic or whatever it may be as similar to this person. And therefore, I have always had like walls up towards those kinds of people that I've categorized. Like I haven't even given them a chance. And it's actually funny because my entire life I've like wanted to have people give me a chance, but I guess as like a defense mechanism or like a coping mechanism, I've always had my walls up to people who I have associated as similar to this girl that I grew up with. And so I ended up kind of facing my fear and I ended up working through it. And I found out that a big part of it, as to why it bothers me, is yes, because this person gave me such a hard time, but it's also because I have always been really self conscious about my appearance and my body. And I felt intimidated by this person who was very sporty. And it's funny because like I ended up talking to her and I ended up being like, hey, I'm sorry if I was like standoffish. It's just that you reminded me of this girl that I went to school with for a really long time who ended up bullying me. And she responded in like such a kind and compassionate way. Like I was not expecting it at all. Like I Because here's the thing is that in the past, whenever somebody has had an issue with me, I have tried to confront them about it and be like, yeah, I feel like there's tension between us. Can we just like talk about it? And like one of the people that I tried to do that with lied to my face and was like, oh, yeah, we don't have an issue at all. Like, we're fine. But then, like, put me down after that to other people. And it's such a humiliating feeling whenever you are nice to someone and think that you guys are on good terms or that you guys are even friends and they don't feel that way at all. Like, and that's something that I've like tried to give myself grace about because like that's why I really enjoy the four agreements because the four agreements is like say what you mean and mean what you say. And if we all just did that, then it would be a lot easier. And sometimes I feel like people kind of get mad at me for that because I'm very blunt. And if I'm like, hey, I don't like you, or it's usually like not even that I don't like someone, it's just like, I don't want to be around this person. Um, Unless I know that they're not going to take that well and they're going to like run with it, then I'm usually pretty blunt. And I'm like, we shouldn't be in contact anymore because like we don't have anything in common. Um, Anyways, I'm rambling now as I do. So yeah, I ended up going through that test this week of just like realizing that I should not categorize people because I don't want people to categorize me. And therefore, I should not categorize other people because that doesn't give that person a chance. And how am I to expect other people to give me a chance whenever I'm not giving other people a chance because of the categorization that I have put them in because of a past person? Like, dude, that doesn't even make sense. And then also just like accepting my body for how it is and not comparing myself to other people and also removing the label that like I'm not sporty and that's just like something that I have to accept about myself and kind of limiting my athletic abilities because of my past and the way that people were so cruel to me in the past. Like I don't have to live with that label on my head that I'm not good at sports and that's just how it is and like I'm just not athletic and I'll never be athletic. Like I don't have to live with that label. That is something that other people put on my forehead, and that is something that I accepted as a way to keep myself safe so that I wouldn't embarrass myself whenever I went out and I wasn't as good at sports or athleticism as others were around me because of the harsh criticism that I faced. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on this week. And I'm really glad that I passed that test. And now I just feel better about the entire situation. Um, and she was just so nice about it. And it just like, I don't know, like I was thinking about it later and I was like, I should text her and just like thank her for seeing me as a human being. Because she was like, I'm really sorry that that girl bullied you for so long. because that does leave a mark. And she's right. It has left a very deep scar for a very long time. Um, and I think we all can relate to that, um, as sad as that is, whether it be from our parents or our family members or people that we've met. Um, or whatever it is. But as we get older, we just have to realize a lot of those people who try to bully you, um, just have pain that they aren't willing to deal with, or they're being treated, maybe they're being treated that way at home. Not always, but maybe. Usually it's a reflection of how they feel internally. Um, Not always, but usually hurt people hurt people. So, anyways, let's get into the show, which is going to be all about, like I said, energetic exchange, energetic cords, protecting your energy, and so on and so forth. Okay, my fun fact of the week. Did you know that Abraham Lincoln was actually an elite wrestling champion? In 300 matches, he only lost one, and he also was a licensed barber. Lincoln's wrestling career lasted for about 12 years, from his early 20s to his early 30s, and he was reportedly a county wrestling champion in Illinois at the age of 21. It actually ended up helping him gain a lot of popularity and helped him to get elected as president. And the fact that he was a barber on top of that, is a man of many talents. So that's honestly been one of my favorite fun facts that I've written down for a while now. I love it. Interesting to know about Lincoln. Okay, so you might be familiar with the human aura. And I think it's really important to address that before we really jump into energy exchange and energetic cords and everything. So that way there's a little bit of a basis and foundation to why energy is important to us. We are all energy, and we all have an energetic field or a vibrational field around us, which is called the aura. And everything has a field of energy around it. So we aren't any different. Energy does not lie. I mean, there's many things that can be told from your aura, such as how much energy you have. So if you're really tired or you're stressed out, then your aura might be a little bit more dim or gray. And then the color can also have meaning. For instance, an orange aura might be someone who's a little bit more adventurous. It matters more what is at the core of the person, however, versus the outward color that their aura is showing. And sometimes we can actually pick up things from our surroundings and the energy that we come into contact with. So, for example, if you are around a lot of low vibrations constantly, for example, like a customer service job where you come into contacts with all kinds of people, then it is very important for you to be able to cleanse your aura and take an energy bath. Sorry, I'm like stumbling over my words. Um, it's important to also realize that your aura, like I said, that's not really important to who you are as a person. It might just be kind of a characteristic that you have. And I always wonder if your aura is linked to like the different chakra that you might be working on. Um, so, for example, and I know that I've said this before, many, many years ago, like 7 years ago, my aura was cherry red, which is associated with the root chakra, which is all about like security and stability, etc. And now it's closer to like a greenish kind of color. At least that's what it was a couple years ago. Whenever I ended up getting another aura picture from the Body Mind Spirit Expo, so it was very interesting to see the change, especially with the amount of work that I've been putting in. So I always wonder if it's connected to like the different chakra and challenges that you're facing with that specific chakra. I think it's also important to note that energy is currency. Your energy is very, very valuable. So think of it like a type of currency or money. The more energy that you have, the more that you can spend it on things that you actually enjoy, and things that actually fill your energetic cup and bring you more energy, like gassing up a car. And the more that you can do the things that you enjoy, the more that you step into a flow state. And if you've ever been in flow state, then you kind of understand what bliss feels like. It's like you're just so in the zone that you don't even realize that time is passing because you're just really enjoying what you're doing. You aren't really concerned about the things that need to be done because you're in that moment. Perhaps you're learning about something new, or perhaps you're going down a rabbit hole and you realize that 3 hours has passed while you're looking into conspiracy theories. The flow state is also the best state to be in whenever you are learning. So that is important, to realize if you're looking for hacks on how to be able to like learn your notes better. Like say that you're in college, going into flow state can be really, really helpful for that. And there are actually breathing exercises that you can do to get into that state. I learned that in my positive psychology class. But being in flow means that you aren't resisting, you're just being in the moment. You're existing and you're filling your cup. Maybe you're playing a new instrument, or you're writing on a topic that you really enjoy, or maybe you're just reading a book that you're completely immersed in. However, the less energy that you have, the more difficult it is not only to survive, but also to step into that flow state so that you can refill your cup and enjoy simply existing. This is why working a job that you dislike, that you pour so much energy into, can be seen as draining, or even a relationship or being around family, whatever it may be. It can feel draining, and it can be described as draining because you're using a lot of your energetic currency to just exist. And the way to combat that is, one, build a relationship with yourself so that you know what you truly do and do not want. Two, find out what really makes you feel alive and what really makes you want to exist, because it's something that you can actually look forward to. And I don't mean drugs or alcohol or even sex. I mean, those things are distracting. Like, they're fun for a small bit of time, but I'm talking about the things that actually set your soul on fire, the things that actually make you want to exist, that make you feel so connected to source that you hate that the time has to end whenever that activity is done. That is how you refill your cup. That is how you gain more energetic currency. If your cup is so drained because of all the stress, I mean, then join the club, because I feel like a lot of that has been normalized in our society, especially whenever it comes into combination with our jobs. I mean, it's just the reality of it. I feel like a lot of a lot of society has pushed us to think that we are not allowed to take time for ourselves. It's very much tied into like the hustle culture, that if you are taking time to rest and pour into your own cup, then you're not working hard enough, which goes against like being in receiving mode and just like realizing that making money doesn't have to be difficult. I think that's the point though. Like, if we don't have any energy that's left for ourselves, how can we focus on healing? And if you aren't focused on healing and existing, then how are you ever going to take the first steps to finding the things that make you feel alive or fill your cup? And so the cycle continues. Children are good to observe in the way that they aren't really concerned about bills or survival. They just enjoy the things that are being taught. They just enjoy being alive. And we're all taught not to be childish, um, which is interesting because I feel like there's been a shift in our generations of people who are getting more woke, per se. They're more tapping in with their inner child and realizing that it is okay to be childish, and that it kind of helps you step back into your authenticity. And that helps you pour into your own cup and realize that nobody else's opinion about you really matters. So maybe if you're looking into who you want to be or what your true nature is, look back into what your inner child wants to do. But once you step back and you stop spending all of your energy on distractions, or even being so attached to, oh, what does this person think of me? Or, like, when will this shift end? And if you move from that and you instead take time to get to know you, then it's going to be a lot easier to figure out what you love and figure out what things bring you peace. But also, you can refill your energetic currency. And I know that it takes time. I struggle with that sometimes personally. But taking the auric energy baths, through meditation or nature can be a great start, and just unplugging or existing instead can be a great start as well. and understanding that yes, your energy is valuable, your energy is currency. And something that I did find interesting that I feel like it's important to note is that I worked at Amazon for like a very short period of time. And it was very interesting to like, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Who cares? I felt like the energy harvesting that was coming from that company alone, like I felt so drained and exhausted after working there. And it wasn't even just because, like, it's a labor job. It's just like I felt like my soul was getting sucked away from me. So, if you know anything about energy harvesting, then that's a different conversation that I'm not going to get into. But that ties in very deeply to energy currency. One second. So now that you understand that you have this bag of energetic currency, it is important to protect that, right? Because you don't want to get robbed, especially once you figure out how to refill your cup on a regular basis. There are people who are going to be able to sniff that out and try to siphon from it. It's like pickpocketing, but energy. And I'll explain a little bit more if you, and I know that I've said this on previous episodes, if you've ever watched What We Do in the Shadows, then you know of Colin Robinson and Evie, right? Those are energetic vampires. And I mean, there are people and beings in this world, if you want to call them that, that are energetic vampires. And it's people that you get around and you end up talking or hanging out with them, or there's not a mutual energy exchange. And after your interactions with them, you feel really drained and tired. Maybe you have a headache, whatever it may be. And I mean, there's going to be people who are worse than others. But I have definitely seen some people who just have like a black hole or like a void like aura where it's just like they're sucking in all like the energy around them, and that's like a really prominent way of how they will steal your energetic currency. Some people are a little bit more slick about it, and I think that's a little bit different than just like having an unmutual energy exchange, because there's some people that you hang out with and you're just like you feel good after you hang out with them. Maybe you needed to like get some energy from them. um then there are people that you both feel good after you walk away. And then there's some people that you meet that, you know, and this is different. Let me explain. This is different than like your friend who's venting to you. I'm talking about the person that never has anything positive to say. That's who I'm talking about. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. I know that you've come into contact with them. And then there have been some people that I've met that, like, I swear, like, and you don't have to believe me, but I used to work at a cell phone store for a short period of time. And there was a woman who would come in who literally, I swear, would just like drain my energy. And I don't know if you've heard about like the Louisiana vampire, like the New Orleans ones, on TikTok. Maybe you should look into that. But I was sitting there and taking care of this woman who, by the way, wasn't even one of our customers. And I didn't realize that until the end. But she came in with an iPhone 1. Okay, we're on 16. She came in with an iPhone 1, which like speaks wonders on how old this woman is. When did I mean, obviously it's not that crazy, but she comes in and she's like, "Oh, the people at Walmart like wouldn't help me, blah 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 blah. They just like wouldn't help me." Yeah, I wonder why. So she comes in, she's like, "I just need to do a couple updates." The first one, 10 minutes, not a big deal. I help her through that. The next one is over an hour. Not that there was really anybody coming to the store, but still, ma'am, you are not an employee. Like, you are not a customer here. You aren't even like through our company. She was like with some random company that I don't even think that I remember the name of. Like, it wasn't Sprint. I think it might have been Cricket. I don't even think it was Cricket. It was like some other weird third party, like, cell phone plan. And she just sat there, just talking to me. And she was like trying to maintain eye contact with me, and she just like kept talking to the point that I didn't even know what she was talking about anymore. And then I had realized that like 30 minutes had passed. I didn't know what she was talking about. Something about like her going up on a mountain and going rock climbing with her friends, and then they were like picking up crystals, and then she went into something I don't even know. She talked about so many things so quickly that it like almost put me into this hypnotic state, and then she just like kept going and going and going, and by the end of it I was so exhausted and so drained that I was like, oh. And then she left, right, and came back like a few hours later or the next day or something, and she was like, oh yeah, can I talk to Ruby, blah blah blah. And we were busy, and my coworkers were like, hey, this woman isn't even like a customer here, like you really need to just be blunt with her and just be like, you can't come in here unless you're going to buy something. And so I had to do that. I had to go out there and be like, ma'am, like, she's like, oh yeah, like I think her name was Mary Ann or Mary Sue or something like that, and she was like, yeah, like, I was like, ma'am, are you gonna buy anything? And she kept like trying to do the freaking hypnotic thing where she was like trying to talk about 100 things at once, and was like trying to maintain eye contact with me, and I wouldn't make eye contact with her, and I was like, ma'am, you need to like leave. Like I can't, like I have like three customers ahead of you. Um, like you need to go. Like, are you gonna buy something? No. Are you a customer with us? No. You need to get out and don't come back unless you're gonna buy a freaking plan with us. And then there was another guy who would come in that was so similar to Colin Robinson, I swear to God, from What We Do to the Shadows. And he literally like would come in and not buy anything, and then he would sit there and talk to us about his Xfinity plan and how much he hated Xfinity, and how he was going to be changing Wi-Fi, and how he was thinking about changing to our Wi-Fi. And then he was talking, then he would like have us show him all of these different like phones and watches and like all these other things, and then he would never buy anything. And I realized, oh my God, like he's siphoning our energy. Like I sat there and I was like, oh my God, like that's what he's doing. And it gave me such like he even looked like Colin Robinson, and I was like, oh my God. So yeah, and then I tried to warn my coworker. I was like, hey, I had to deal with that guy last time. He's literally just gonna make you sorry if you could. Oh, hello, mother. Okay, so if you're watching the video at all, you might notice that I've changed clothes. That's because yesterday I ended up getting interrupted while I was recording. So let me try to backtrack and like remember what I was talking about. I know that I was talking about the Colin Robinson guy from the cell store that I worked at. But yeah, so what I like I said, he would come in and then he wouldn't buy anything, and so he ended up coming in a different day. And I even tried to warn my coworker. I was like, "Hey, dude, um, like." Don't waste your time with this guy because he did the exact same thing to me a couple days ago, where he literally just has you run around in circles and then he doesn't buy anything. Um, and I guess she didn't believe me at first. And she ended up kind of getting her hopes up that he was going to like buy all this stuff. And of course he didn't. He was still on like that same rant about how he hates Xfinity and all this stuff, and how his internet is slow, which was the exact same spiel that he had given me a couple days before, and how he was considering changing carriers, but he wasn't. Like, and it was a whole thing. So I think after like 20 to 30 minutes, she finally just kicked him out. And she was like, dude, I'm not going to help you if you're not going to buy anything. Like, you're not one of our customers. Like, get out. So, yeah, you got to be careful about the energy vampires. Definitely make sure to be shielding your energy. And I'll teach you a little bit on how to do that. Um, but yeah, like I said earlier, just also be careful about the people who are super, super, super negative. And you'll, like I said, you'll know who I'm talking about. It's that person that like literally never has anything positive to say ever, and you just feel so extremely drained by the end of like hanging out with them. And there's like a difference between depression and every single time you hang out with this person, like they never have anything good to say ever. And that's how it's always been. And I noticed with a lot of those people that they don't really change. So definitely be careful. And I know that I briefly mentioned this before, but you might have heard of energy harvesting, which is where Basically, someone gains energy from you with certain tactics, like provoking you or making you run in circles. The more common usage of this world is on a much grander scale. But whether or not you want to open that door and look into that is up to you. I can let you figure that out on your own, because I'm a little worried that if I talk about that, my podcast is going to get shadow banned. Um, but if you know, you know. So let's move into energy exchange and cords. So, how do these energy vampires actually get energy from us? Well, the easiest way is through physical touch. Energy exchange is very, very real. So, be careful about who you let touch you. Even like brushing up against you. There used to be some people that I used to know that every time that I got around them, every single hair on my body would completely stand up, and I was very cautious about them like brushing up against me. One time they like purposefully went out of their way to brush up against me. Like there was no reason that they should have brushed up against me, and then soon after that, um, a lot of bad things ended up happening. So yeah, just be careful. Um, I also have found that making eye contact with someone for a very long period of time can be an energy exchange. It makes me wonder if maybe that's why it feels so uncomfortable to make eye contact with people. But I don't know. Usually I can look into someone's eyes and like figure out what they are, or like how who they are kind of as a person. I've been seeing a lot more like ghoul like energy lately, which has been very interesting, and I don't like it whenever I see it. Um, ugh, yeah. The easiest, yeah. So, something that my best friend explained is that you can put on sunglasses to help avoid making eye contact with people. Especially reflective sunglasses are really nice because then it reflects back their energy to them. But the easiest way for you to do an energy exchange and a very strong energy exchange is through sexual contact. This is going to be the strongest form of doing an energy exchange. And I've come to the realization, or maybe it's my own theory, but I feel like a big reason that sexual immorality is so looked down upon in the Christian culture or religions in general is because of the reason um, that it is an energy exchange, and you need to realize that there is a high energy exchange that comes from that level of intimacy, and you don't know what that person has on them. Like if somebody has something attached to them, or if they're fighting depression or whatever it may be, that can jump to you very easily from like having sex with them or whatever it may be. Also, it is much easier to put an energetic cord on someone, or worse, a soul tie, which can be a very easy way for the energy transfer to happen because at that point, they don't even have to be near you anymore. They can just siphon your energy just by thinking about you. And it's kind of like giving somebody the routing and account number to your bank account for your energy bag, because they can just siphon right out of it. So it's good to do energetic clearings and like cutting cords, and I'll teach you how to do that. Um, it's also very important to be conscientious of who you're intimate with. I mean, I'm sure you've heard all of that before. I'm very protective of my energy, so I don't like making physical contact with those that I do not trust. And an easy way to tell if a cord still exists between you and a person is to think of the frequency of like the amount of times that you think of that person after you have perhaps cut contact with them. Not necessarily, but that's a theory that I have as well. Sometimes it just means that you need to heal more from everything, and maybe heal more to cut the cord completely. So I could be wrong about that, but that's just my own personal beliefs. So cutting cords and protecting your energy. Once those cords are put into place, what is the best way to get rid of them from yourself? So there's a couple different ways that you can do it. You can do it in the bath. You can do it by candle. Be very careful if you do it by candle. And there's another way that you can do it in meditation. Um, be very careful if you end up doing a cord cutting by candle, though, because that is that is baneful magic. So just, I've definitely done a few of those, and they get pretty intense. So just be careful. I don't recommend doing it that way. I feel like there's just easier ways to do it without opening a bunch of doors. Um, and then there are people who say that you shouldn't do it ever at all. So, yeah. So one way that you can do it is you can picture yourself across from a person in a protected space with a white light. This is a meditation way to do it. Picture the other person in a protected space with a white light around you and them, and then look at the cords that are in between both of you through your belly buttons. And basically put your hand in front of you and swoosh it down like um, you go from the top of your forehead all the way down your body very quickly and say, I cut and release you. And you do that 3 times. And then you can picture a flame um, burning down the energetic cord all the way down to their belly button, burning it away. Same for you. And then just release them, be like, I call up heavy protection from this person. And, you can call in protection as you do that as well. It's very important to stay protected as you do these things. Um, Another way that you can do it, like I said, is in the bath. You can take a bath. Epsom salt baths are really nice because it helps with cleansing. And basically, you can close your eyes and you can speak out loud if you'd like to and just say everything that you want to say to that person. And then you can look at your energetic body and just kind of look to see how many cords are connected to that other person. Kind of examine them, like, are they bloody? Are they black? Are they moldy? Are they normal? Are they really like just a tiny little thread? Are they pretty strong? They'll vary from person to person. They might be in different spots. And then you can just put your head under the water and your body under the water and watch all of them break. And, maybe you can pluck them out if you want to, whatever you're thinking. Just release them from your body, let the water come through and cleanse out all of those wounds. And then whenever you drain the bathtub, you can just release all those cords and that energy back to Mother Earth. Or you can transmute it. Maybe not transmute it. It might just be better to release it to Mother Earth with the help of your spirit team or karma, or however you do it. And then I'm not going to teach you how to do a cord cutting with baneful magic, just because I just don't want to give that advice. So yeah, I think it's just safer to do it in a meditation or water. Um, for so many reasons. It's kind of an advanced spell. So, yeah, just be careful. Okay. And then, whenever you are protecting your energy, I'm about to close up. The best way to be able to protect your energy, as I said, is really based on what works best for you. Some people can veil, and that's a good way to do it. So, like wearing a bandana or something around your head that covers your third eye and your crown. And whenever you put it on, just be like, I'm doing this for protection. You can also visualize like energetic walls around you, definitely asking for help from your spirit team or from the divine or whoever you work with. Um, and then just listen to your intuition on what you think is best. There's small ways that you can do protection around your energy as well. And you can research it as well, um, like holy water, Florida water. Um, I'm trying to think what else. There's so many ways. Like an egg of light. That's a good one. You'll find out what is best for you. My good friend told me that if you end up noticing that somebody's an energy vampire, you can picture yourself inside of a disco ball so that it reflects their energy back to them. And if it's really bad, then you can picture them inside of an inside out ball so that they are forced to have their energy bounce back to them. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would recommend for energy protection. Um, Warding your home is really helpful. Locking your mirrors is very helpful. Um, and you can research all of that, whatever works best for you. Um, some people use candle magic, some people don't. Some people use anointing oil. Um, I mean, there's so many ways that you can do protection, and you should also always start with protection, especially if you're dealing with a lot of energy vampires. You'll just remember that it's all about intention for protection. Um, so you can get creative with it over time. Your intuition will really tell you what works best for you. So yeah. And I also wanted to say what I'm grateful for. My best friend is helping me through a lot of change right now, so I'm super thankful to Sam because he's been helping me. And then I'm just thankful that I have food in the house. I have groceries in the house. Um, Thankful that I had time to be able to work on music yesterday. I'm thankful to have a guitar. Thankful that I have a warm place to sleep. Thankful for my cats. And yeah, I mean, there's so many things to be grateful for. And then I have two song recommendations. It's Man Eater by Nelly Furtado and Prisoner by Dance Gavin Dance, which, yes, those are two extremely different songs. So I hope that the playlist is actually available for public use. I have tried to make it available so many times, and I just don't even know if people can like grab it or not. I really have tried to make it accessible. But, if anything, you can also look up these songs if you'd like to. So, have a wonderful week. I think I might record the next episode as well. So, if you see me in a similar outfit, um, don't be surprised. Have a good week, guys.